Story time about how I slept with my teacher and got pregnant. A little background information, I was 18 and in 12th grade. I had always had trouble in school, especially history class. And I had always had tutors and everything like that. And eventually I just got tired of trying to get my grade up because I realized that it was never going to happen. So my teacher was 27 years old. We're going to call him Mike. And Mike had a girlfriend. He had been staying after school helping me like every single day. From like 3 o'clock till 5 o'clock. Well, the one day I had this outfit on that maybe wasn't that appropriate, and I was being super flirty with him the whole time. To be honest, I just didn't want to put in the effort to get up my grades. And then 10 minutes later, he started getting handsy, and I told him that if he wanted to do anything, he had to get my grade up for me. So he did just that. Well, for the next couple of months, I would go over to his house to study, like for part 2 about how I slept with my teacher and got pregnant. So like I said, I got tired of putting effort in to get my grade up, so I let him hit, and then I was going over his house after school. Well, later on at the end of the year, I find out that I'm pregnant. And because I was 18, I really didn't have to care about what my parents thought. So I told him, and surprisingly, this man was on board with it. He was like, oh my god, like, let's do this. I'm so happy. And I was like, what the fuck? Well, his ex-girlfriend found out, so she went and told the school. He got fired, and 3 years later, we're still together raising our...
Story time of the most dirtiest college roommate ever. By the way, we're calling her Jessie. So I moved in before Jessie, and I get settled and decorate. The next day, she comes and throws her bag on the bed, then leaves. I thought it was weird because she didn't even say anything to me. Couple hours later, she comes back, and I'm like, hello? And she's like, my bad, and comes give me a hug. She smelled very bad. She starts unpacking all of her clothes and blankets, but they smelled like mildew. Anyways, a week later, there's this party going on for freshmen, and she goes, but I stay in because I had a migraine. I told her that when she comes back, can she keep the light off? Now it's 2 a.m., and she comes back in very loud, uses the bathroom, then goes to sleep. And now I'm up, so I got up to use the bathroom too. When I sit down on the toilet, I feel something very squishy. It was dark because, like I said, I had a migraine. I get up, turn the light on, and I was sitting in her shit.
This boy lied about his age just to date me. Story time. So back when my cute self was a senior in high school, there was this new girl that came to our school. Long story short, me and her ended up becoming super close. I went to her house, spent the night. Her family loved me. I mean, why wouldn't they? Anyways, she had a brother. We're gonna call him Binky. Me and Binky got pretty close. Now I want you guys to keep in mind, Binky didn't go to my school because their parents were divorced. So the sister who I was friends with lived with her mom, and Binky lived with his dad who lived in another city. But sometimes Binky would go to his mom's house, which is how I met him. Now that we got that out of the way, as me and Binky were getting closer, one day he asked me, hey, how old are you? And I was like, oh, I just turned 17. How about you? He told me, oh, I'm 17 too, but my 18th birthday is coming up. After a while, me and him eventually started dating. Then one day, I ran into his cousin who happened to go to my school. The rest of this story is crazy. This boy lied about his age just to date me. Story time. So I ran into his cousin who just so happened to go to the same school as me. What a small world. Anyways, we start having a conversation. And she asked me, oh my god, are you dating Binky? And I was like, oh, how do you know that? Because at the time, I didn't know that she was his cousin. And he didn't go to the same school as me. So I didn't know how she would have known that. And then she tells me, oh, that's my cousin. As we're talking, she says, oh, are you going to go to his birthday party? And I'm like, no, he actually didn't tell me he was having a birthday party. Weird. And she's like, yeah, that's really weird because it's like coming up next week. And I'm just sitting here like, well, maybe he'll tell me. He probably just had a lot on his mind. And then she says, I can't believe he's going to be 16 already. Time flies. We're going to throw him a sweet 16 party. After she says that, I just look at her like, you mean 18, right? Like, you said 16. I think you meant 18. Sorry there. This boy lied about his age just to date me. Story time. Part 3. So his cousin starts talking about I can't believe he's going to be 16. And I look at her thinking I'm tripping. Like, you said 18, right? Like, you didn't mean 16, you meant 18. And then she's like, no, I meant 16. So that's when I found out he's actually 16 or about to be 16. So I was 17 dating a 15-year-old. And I know a lot of you were like, oh my God, it's not really that much of an age gap. Listen, the fact that he lied about it is bad enough for me. Secondly, I would have been 18 and he still would have been 16, turning 17. But that's a little weird for me, and I didn't want to catch a case. That's why I wasn't looking for a younger boy. After I find out this new information, of course I tell my best friends. And they start hyping me up. Break up with him! Which is what I did. I sent him this huge paragraph. I kind of went off. Of course, he replied to my paragraph saying, I'm sorry, I don't want to lose you, blah, blah, blah. I basically told him, sorry, I don't want to be with Liar. I blocked him and haven't seen him